Can there be a crime in a relationship so severe that forgiveness becomes an impossibility? This question brings us to the heart of the matter. You see, relationships are complex, brimming with emotions, shared memories, and expectations. And forgiveness, it's the glue that holds relationships together, a salve for the inevitable wounds of human interaction. But what happens when that salve isn't enough, when the wound cuts too deep? Most times, communication, understanding, and a good dose of patience can mend the rifts. Yet there are instances where certain actions, certain crimes if you will, shatter this trust to such an extent that it becomes irreparable. These are the relationship crimes that leave a permanent mark, that alter the course of the bond forever. They're the moments that for many cross over into a territory where forgiveness feels like an impossibility. So what are these relationship crimes? Let's delve into these relationship crimes that, for many, cross the line into the realm of the unforgivable. First on our list of relationship crimes is betrayal. Betrayal is a term that sends shivers down the spine. It's a term that carries a weight of pain and regret, a term that is synonymous with deception, disloyalty, and dishonesty. In the context of relationships, betrayal takes many forms, but the most common and heart-wrenching form is cheating. Cheating is like a silent storm that sweeps away the foundation of trust in a relationship without a warning. It's a clandestine operation, often executed with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel, leaving the victim in a state of shock and disbelief. The worst part? The one person you trusted more than anyone else in the world is the architect of your pain. What cheating does to a relationship is akin to what an earthquake does to a building. It shakes the very core, causing cracks in the walls of trust, and if left unchecked, it can bring the entire edifice crashing down. It's a profound violation, a breach of a sacred pact between two souls. But betrayal isn't always about infidelity. It can be as subtle as deception, lies, and half-truths that slowly erode the trust in a relationship. It's about broken promises and unmet expectations. It's about saying one thing and doing another. It's about concealing, deceiving, and misleading. It's about creating a mirage of love and commitment, while in reality, it's far from it. Trust is the glue that holds a relationship together. It's the bedrock upon which the edifice of love is built. Once that trust is shattered, it's hard, if not impossible, to rebuild. The cracks may be filled, the walls may be repainted, but the scars remain. They serve as a constant reminder of the pain and betrayal, making it hard to move forward. Betrayal in any form is a relationship crime that's hard to forgive and even harder to forget. It's a crime that leaves a lasting impact, a crime that changes the dynamics of a relationship forever. Betrayal, a crime that shatters trust and leaves scars that are hard to heal. Next up on our list is abuse. Now, abuse is a term that carries a heavy weight, and rightly so. It's a serious violation of a person's rights and dignity, and it's a crime in the realm of relationships that's truly unforgivable. Often when we hear the term abuse, we immediately think of physical violence. This is a grave reality for many, and it's a clear transgression that can cause lasting harm. Physical abuse is never acceptable, and it's a clear sign that a relationship is unhealthy and dangerous. But let's not forget about emotional abuse. Sometimes it's less visible, but just as damaging. Emotional abuse can take many forms. It can be belittling, controlling, or constant criticism. It can be manipulation, isolation from friends and family, or threats. It's an ongoing assault on a person's self-esteem and mental health. Abuse, whether physical or emotional, is about power and control. It's a twisted game where one person seeks to dominate and belittle the other, to make them feel small, unworthy, or scared. It's an ugly, dark side of relationships that should never be tolerated. It's important to remember that everyone has the right to be treated with respect and kindness. Everyone deserves to feel safe and loved in their relationships. When these basic human rights are violated through abuse, it's a clear sign that the relationship is not healthy, not loving, and certainly not worth staying in. Abuse can leave deep scars, both visible and invisible, that can take years to heal. But remember, it's never the victim's fault. No one asks for or deserves to be abused. And it's never too late to seek help, to step out of the shadow of abuse, and to start the journey towards healing and recovery. So, if you or someone you know is in an abusive relationship, reach out, speak up, and seek help. Remember, you're not alone and there's always a way out. Abuse, a crime that violates a person's dignity and safety. Third on our list is manipulation. It's a term we've all heard, and unfortunately, it's a behavior we've probably all encountered in some form or another. When we speak of manipulation in relationships, We're talking about a whole spectrum of actions, all aimed at controlling or influencing a partner's thoughts, feelings, or actions. Let's take a moment to break it down. At its heart, manipulation is about control. It's about one person trying to gain power over another, often through subtle, indirect, and underhanded tactics. This might look like someone making their partner feel guilty for wanting to spend time with friends, or perhaps creating a situation where their partner feels they must constantly prove their love. But manipulation isn't just about control, it's also about deceit. This can manifest as lying, gaslighting, or even creating a false reality where the manipulator is always the victim or the hero. Deceit and manipulation is all about creating a narrative that benefits the manipulator, often at the expense of their partner's trust and emotional well-being. Most concerning, manipulation involves a complete disregard for a partner's feelings or autonomy. A manipulator doesn't consider their partner's needs, desires, or boundaries. Instead, they see these things as obstacles to be overcome or ignored. They might dismiss their partner's feelings as unreasonable or make decisions without consulting them, all in an effort to maintain control. What's truly unforgivable about manipulation is the damage it can inflict. It can erode a person's self-esteem, make them question their reality, and leave them feeling trapped in a relationship where their needs and feelings are constantly dismissed. It's a crime that undermines a person's autonomy and self-worth. So, if you find yourself in a relationship where you're constantly second-guessing yourself, where your feelings are regularly dismissed, where you feel controlled or deceived, it might be time to consider whether you're dealing with manipulation. Manipulation, a crime that undermines a person's autonomy and self-worth. Lastly, we have neglect. Neglect is a subtle yet damaging relationship crime that often goes unnoticed until it's too late. It's like a quiet storm that gradually erodes the foundation of a relationship, leaving behind a trail of sadness, loneliness, and a sense of worthlessness. Neglect, in the context of a relationship, isn't about forgetting to take out the trash or missing a date night. It's about consistently overlooking the emotional needs and feelings of your partner. It's about consistently failing to provide the care, attention, and respect that your partner deserves. Imagine always being the last priority, your feelings dismissed as unimportant, your needs overlooked. This is what it feels like to be neglected in a relationship. This emotional desert can leave a person feeling unvalued and invisible. The damage caused by neglect is profound and far-reaching. It can lead to feelings of worthlessness, loneliness, and a crippling lack of self-esteem. And what's worse, it can be a slow, gradual process. You might not even realize it's happening until you're already deep in the desert, parched for affection, starved for attention, and desperate for recognition. Neglect is a silent killer of relationships. It's a crime that's often committed without intention, but that doesn't make it any less devastating. It's vital to recognize and address neglect early on, before it causes irreparable damage. Neglect, a crime that leaves a person feeling unvalued and invisible. So we've discussed 4 major relationship crimes: betrayal, abuse, manipulation, and neglect. Betrayal, a breach of trust that can shatter the very foundation of your relationship. Then there's abuse, which comes in many forms, but all of them chip away at your self-esteem and personal freedom. Manipulation, a more subtle yet equally damaging crime, can twist your reality and make you question your own worth. And finally, neglect, the silent killer of relationships, often overlooked but leaving deep scars nonetheless. These are not just minor misdemeanors but felonies in the court of love, each capable of causing significant harm. They can break hearts, shatter trust, and leave lasting emotional wounds. It's essential to recognize these crimes for what they are and not dismiss or downplay their impact. Remember, while forgiveness is a virtue, it is also important to know your worth and set boundaries. Stay safe, value yourself, and choose partners who do the